Well, hello everyone, I'm Darth Browner, and welcome to the next part of my Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations playthrough. In the previous video, oh man, was it dramatic. Phoenix fell off Dusky Bridge, and Miles Edgeworth has come in to take over the investigating, and today he is going to be the prosecutor. Not prosecutor, sorry, he's going to be the defense attorney. Yeah, I had to get that right. So, without further ado, let's get cracking as we're playing as Miles Edgeworth once more. Oh my, Mr. Larice feels that way about me? Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. There's no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not, and in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I'll drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today? No. I believe that nun will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini? She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Doonim, correct? That is correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? You're a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed? Don't worry, I've made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris, it is the prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I'm a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth? I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I've been entrusted. Very well, sir. I leave my defence in your capable hands. Car is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. Defence is ready, Your Honour. The defence does indeed be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. Any prosecutor's check can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It was seen this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I'm ready to announce my verdict this time. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
The prosecution stands ready. There you are, Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy. Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma. Legends are a thing of the past. I'm a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honour. I'm almost certain I've seen you somewhere before. Am I just imagining things? You're very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honour. Miss von Karma, do you have anything to say? There's no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. There isn't. I'm sure once before in the courtroom. I told you there is no such weakling. What is that, a whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. But you remove that whip. I have no objection to the whip. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee, but there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I'd expected to face Phoenix right here today, but looking at you now. Maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People act bizarrely in my call. The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honour. Very well, Miss Von Karma. Please give an outline of this case, with as little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Dunham. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. So, in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well. Court accepts this photo of the crime scene. There is no mistake, this was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on there, I'm not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back-plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little B? Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple, on Eagle Mountain. My name's Bikini, got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave the sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in the summer. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say then. First, tell us about your own moments that night, eh? That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple. But well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long hot soak. It was after I'd finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it. So it's simply coincidence you found yourself at Hazakura Temple. Yeah, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in such pain, I would have stayed in the inner temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle now, are you, Miles Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. Defendants' fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well, don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. Head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No, she said that. The defendant or a witness. Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back. But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie. Does indeed have honest as. All people lie, that is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question. Dear, you're older than me. You want to play that game, do you? Well, how is it like, well, my memory is perfect. Crystal clear. Especially in winter. Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you're going to question the memory of this witness, you'll need to show him out to such piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honour. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick. But please add your comments hours to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. Where's Kate to the inner temple? She was dressing like she had been at dinner. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct? Of course! That's a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know this hood was given to me as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant she claims, then the hours she saw would have been missing this very hood. Well. It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Oh, in the cart. What's your system? This hood, you have spare ones around the table, don't you? Spares? Well, we do tend to make too many of them. I see, stockpile surplus of hoods, eh? Each is only given one hood. It should be only ours owned. That is quite strange. So it's the surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here. Sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness, well, I don't wish to cut your testimony to doubt. You must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt started sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little bit more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. Well, I finished my bath around 11 and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and Iris was Mr. Elise! And with that sort of all things. Mr. Elise was staying in the corner room which faces out onto the courtyard. Stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? I was in your place. It'll be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two and cart, and makes it off on this very chair. Well, something like that. This judge, his imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I'd look the fool if I'd commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full name, can't you do something about that habit of yours? Impressive logic, that's what I'd like to say anyway. Oh please do, my brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you're overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report. The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. That's right, it says after death right here. The scene of the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room, don't you agree? That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right, the victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. She was then thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a bloodstain, would you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Your wish to call traces of blood to be found by glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in the room, then your claim that... I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honour is well aware. When a stab wound produces the most blood, very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true, with the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. Perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We're coming to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. Order! I must admit that this is a probable version of events. I expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. Seems that way you need a clearer testimony from the witness. With our position on your part, tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please, remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter and snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip. Oh boy, alright. When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Think about it now, I actually didn't see her stab Mr. Khalees. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. Can't blame me, can you? When I woke, Mr. Khalees was stabbing Mr. Khalees through the back. I'll confess Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that.
Hold it!
So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood? That's right. Some of it had spattered onto Iris too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room. Their blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Clothes with blood flecked as well? That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Should I press this point further? Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now you say you saw the victim bleeding? Well, I say that what I saw is what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed. I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day. Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out. Witness, you'll add this statement to your testimony. Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out. Sister Bikini, you're a reliable witness. At least I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a lawyer. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please explain yourself. Start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble. I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men in my heel and make them weep, should I so choose. Judges, the objection stands. I went a little back there, I must admit. This isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body of the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. That's... We also have the problem with the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in the body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with a shishishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly, and may still even stop the blood loss. I'm not finished. There's still one more conclusive contradiction. You still got more? This one's simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is it there's only blood on the tip of it? Ah. This witness is telling the truth. Then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. Well, bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one if that. What does this all mean? You're proving contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is, the weapon used to kill the victim was not the shishishito. What? A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy, foolish fool. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think this sword was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mr. Gamey was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the shishishito was the murder weapon. Order. So maybe the shishishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. Sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? If that is so, I'd like the prosecution to ask the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall in the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found. That answers the question, Miss von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery thrown into the pile. Tribal murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking, it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was it was just over there. What exactly are you going on about here? Weapon, I mean, but maybe I think I may know where it's all was disposed of. You what? Well then, I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen? I saw the murder around 11 PM. After asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate, and there I saw tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, less than 5 using one of those. Maybe he threw the weapon into Eagle River and came out while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all. Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What, my back and my age, you know? Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph. A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory. The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. That solves your pesky problem, yes? Eagles River's current is quite swift, meaning it doesn't freeze over in the winter, making it a perfect place to dispose of a murder weapon. Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if what this witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? What do you mean? Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be two sets of snacks in the track. Those from heading out to the bridge and those from coming back. Ah, you're right. You're forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were raised by snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction now, doesn't it? I see, while she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in their theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks? The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, this is impossible. Would you care to explain why there is a rude index finger currently pointing to my general direction? No need. Evidence will do all the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge. In order to dispose of the murder weapon, the outgoing tracks were raised by snow. Also claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Evidence the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. This is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report? Snow started to fall at 7 o'clock, but it stopped around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 o'clock, the snow had already stopped falling. It's impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up. Order. Very well then. It looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report even ever correct? Oh no, you got it wrong. This isn't the forecast. Actual data. Forecast data or weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 7 o'clock. It's true. We can't be though. Eh? What? How did she pull that off? Ed stops knowing at Hasakura Temple when the murder took place. We need to provide conclusive evidence of this. We've come this far. No turning back now. Very well, I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony. Huh. You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where is your evidence that it already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed. That's right, but proving that is incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow, with just one exception, and that is the victim herself, Miss Elise Dunham. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It stopped snowing when she was killed, that's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to the murder weapon, then in this photograph, there should be two tracks. Arden, just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hasakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing. Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by snow. But when this person returned to Hasakura Temple, snow dropped. Thus, the return tracks remained. Can I say something? It all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There is only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder, which can only mean that night Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple. But Iris said she never went there. I should probably press her on this point some more if I get a chance. The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hasakura side of the bridge and crossed it on foot. So is that right? But what's odd as it is, when I left Iris and returned to Hasakura Temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge. You must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I got back to Hasakura Temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I thought I was covered. So, for too. But that. harder in the cart. What does this all mean? So then, what was the snowmobile used for? Wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be two spots of service. All we know is after it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble. I think we learned all we can from this witness. Yes, I got nothing more to add. I told you everything that I know. But then, last not least, with the same problem. Only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness. No one out walking past near Dusky Bridge on that night. I don't think that's likely. Cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering on that. That's a shame. Hold on. Something's coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honour, actually there might be an individual who may help. Really? You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder? I know for sure if he saw it or not. There are two things about it that do come to mind, which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder, and the second being, this individual that I'm thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, here's our kind of idiot. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about?
Take that!
This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc de Ledoux's guide to obnoxious French painting. This is Larry Butts, disciple of the victim Elise Doonan. Her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder? That's... I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason. And so, this unfortunate, unreliable looking man, what exactly was it he saw? I intend to extract that from him, right here in this courtroom. So, summon this youth as a witness immediately. I have no choice, do I? I believe he's in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him. Very well, Larry. You may have escaped me yesterday. But today, I'm going to get everything out of you. Can't without adjourn for a 20-minute break. Ms. Von Karma, please see to prepare the next witness. Understood, Your Honour. Well, that is now recess.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm not really sure what to say.
Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene.
Alright, I'll help you any way I can.
First, about that night. You really didn't go to the inner temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying.
Mr. Edgeworth, it is just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakura Temple.
Very well. Second thing then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 that night, were you the one who used the snowmobile?
There is only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me.
So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge?
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth.
Iris?
I can't tell you about that yet.
Yet?
Not until her safety is confirmed.
Her?
Safety of the acolyte.
The acolyte, her? She must be talking about Maya. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Doonim?
No matter who or what may come, I could never take a life.
As I thought. No psycholocks. Very well. It is my job to get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough. Court will now reconvene. Ms. von Karma, where is the witness? During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behaviour in the gallery. Suspicious behaviour? He was sketching something very intensely. Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained? He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip. I can only presume that his intention was to capture you. Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. Elise Doonim, I hope you're ready. Get in here. It would seem that whip is going to see plenty more use today. Ow! Your sketch is in contempt of this court. Hey, I was just artistically rendering. You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct? Look, I'm nothing but a fledgling artist training out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use the technical term for the colour viridian. Larry, this isn't an art store now, is it? I know, I graduated junior high, okay? Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it? Work in the fields? I presume he wanted to say field work. I hope. That's it, thanks, buddy. It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. So see, I've got nothing to do with this trot at all. I expect all of your faces to be red when you realise this mistake. Bright red. Or to use a technical term, Crimson Lake. Ouch. 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 Stop your pathetic blabbing and testify like a man. For anyone whipping me, Miss Von Karma, cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was all your fault. Testify now. This is too much for me. I was at the lodge out in the mountains looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I edgy? Witness, please don't refrain from talking directly to the liars during your testimony. I'm just a nobody, nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? And why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation or anything else? Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex. He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realised for himself just how much of a nuisance he's been to other people. Yeah, that's right, I'm behind everything, every case. Watch out, okay? Just touch me will make you eternally unhappy. Well, let's proceed with cross-examination with no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time. Larry Butts, I can't understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry. But, having realised just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me? Certainly doesn't sound that way to me. However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create. You're totally pinning this on me. Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There he happened across a certain nefarious individual. You, Larry Butts. That's right, me in the flesh. Listen carefully, witness. Doesn't matter if you change your name. So long as you remain pretty pathetic, you'll continue to cause these incidents. That reality will not change. But what do you want me to do then? Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue, all I need from you. Gee, I think I've finally woken up. Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it. I'll testify. Well, I'm not sure this will go especially well. Ask a witness, what did you see on the night of the murder? I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been about 10:30. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out the window and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There's still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's why I ran into Nick. You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you? So what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire? It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. Totally burnt out, like almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains was what causing it to fall. What did you say? Oh, don't worry. It's nothing life-threatening, he's just caught a cold. I never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please come into your own examination. You said right away, but exactly how long after strike was that? Lightning fell and then the bridge caught on fire, maybe about 5 minutes. I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta check this out. How far is the small shack you were in from the bridge? Hold on, well, that pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk. And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there? Like I'd recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires the kids make during school camping trips can compare. Well, should I press it for a little more info? Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face? Why didn't you call anyone? What do you mean? Normally when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There's the public phone by the bridge, correct? Well, of course I thought of doing that. So let's hear why you didn't. Yeah, okay, reason, man, reason. Isn't that I didn't try to tell you, I just didn't have time to, okay? I arrived at the bridge and it showed up less than a minute later. Your very existence being a contradiction. I'm not sure if you can grasp this or not. What the hey, Edgy, you make me sound like some sort of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you know, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those. This is much more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what had happened. Is this correct? Yeah, well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge. I mean, you probably got there around 11 o'clock. All sounds about right, I guess. Then Nick showed up and did his falling out. That is impossible. What do you mean? 11 PM is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there in the courtyard. There's no way that Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge that time. Excuse me, I have an objection. You do? Edgy, how many times have I got to say this? I'm not Larry, I'm Louise Doom. It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 o'clock. Sister, is it around 11? In which case, it would call me to have been earlier than that. Watch your footing there, Miss Franziska von Karma. Sliphead is getting slippery. There is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 o'clock. And why not? It's clearly written here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15. Which means what exactly? Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Larry, you arrived at the bridge at 11 o'clock. Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. I suggest you stop hiding things and tell us the whole truth. Now then, what happened during those missing 15 minutes? I feel like I just got brutally woken up by toilet splashback. I guess I was still sleeping after all. So there was a missing 15 minutes prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. Hardly sounds as much as a problem. Yeah, not much of a problem at all. Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes and there is a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the accident? Yes, witness, why didn't you? Why were you there simply to watch the bridge burn? And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burnt out, he was still there. Staring into space, this witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty. That's what it sounds like. Ah, but this is Larry we're talking about. And even he is incapable of being so stupid. Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction. Edgy, I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. Just as I thought you'd been playing with us all this time. Listen, I'm going to tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all? Yes? I mean, then say it. Very well, I have a terribly bad feeling about this, however. Let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now for this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness? I'm a doonym. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and all that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realised that the flames had gone out and then he came running up. I suppose artists can be strange folk. That's right, I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch. Including the truth from the sound of it. Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts? Not at all, Your Honour. A very large doubt remains. And what would that be? This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source. So why did he think he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. Haha. You'll regret this, Edgy. Sketching the burning bridge and everything that came with it. What came with it? You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this, that sketch of mine is... Enough. Just take that ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness. What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. It doesn't appear to be the fast solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth. What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling this sketch is revealed. The entire world may be changed by what's depicted there. Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch, please. Well, even I couldn't imagine it turn out like this. Imagine what? That Louise Dunham's debut would take place here today like this. Show it now. Okay, but seal yourselves. This is the world of Louise Dunham. Well, so this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? You're responsible for Karma? Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected. Isn't it? Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those things, I really did. Yes, I'm sure you did. Yeah, it's gonna get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry. What? The burning bridge is fine, but what is that unfortunate looking figure? Oh, you spoiled it. I thought you might. However much I might want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris, of course. Iris. I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan for our future, you know. What would happen to her if she'd injured herself flying like that? Larry, please answer this next question honestly. Okay? Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist. A real artist. Are you high? This girl, she's really high up in this picture. What was that for? This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to testify that theory. Please whip your own cheek from now if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no Carlisle will ever acknowledge that people could fly. Actually, there is some precedent for this. She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge, at least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to earth. What, me? This witness is your friend, is he not? Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth. Let's get back to this cross-examination, by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here. Yes, Your Honour. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron. Well, what did you think of my debut piece? Get that thing away from me! Now hurry up and cross-examine him. I'm a dude him. Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care. In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that is the truth. If that is truly the case, then there is one thing that we can say for certain. What might that be? That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant, Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand. The foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardy fool. How exactly can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry, according to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. But it's what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defence's bench. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the thunder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight? What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why did you, Nick? What are you doing? I don't believe it's unbelievably mysterious sketch. His desk has disappeared, discredited and discarded. Strange the garbage. Huh. What is it now, witness? It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy, today's the day I get to completely stupefy you. What? What's the meaning of her outburst, witness? I hate to do this, but I have some definitive evidence. Definitive? Evidence? Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge, and I, Larice Dunham, shall prove it. I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch. It shows your evidence that this nightmare was actually reality. Okay, you're ready, Edgy? Because I'm going to feed you a whopping serving of pain. You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time, trust me. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. So worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led to me finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. A crystal sphere? This one. Pretty, isn't it, but finds keepers. That sphere, where did you find it? Let me see, around here somewhere. That's about right. And it was half buried in the snow. It had been pretty much stopped snowing by then, but there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge. Can't accept this crystal sphere. That's mine, okay? I want it back afterward. There's something on it. Oh my, it's blood. What? Blood? You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, like the sound of that. No one's going to push me around anymore. Didn't you want to be called Larice Dunham only a few minutes ago? Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who was this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Dunham, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff you can see a familiar looking crystal sphere. Hey, it's my photograph, give it back. Crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like that on my brooch. They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah, the crystal sphere is gone. What? Just what does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, certainly was not Iris after all. She was not wearing a hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew, dropped the sphere, was the victim, Miss Elise Dunham. A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. You can't do that, I saw it with my own two eyes. And this crystal sphere? This is nothing more than a red herring. Honestly believe that? Give it some thought and I'm sure you'll realise it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Dunham was in her room on the night of the murder. There's no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, This sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all. Miss Franziska von Karma. The only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of the murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case? That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder? There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear? Near the foot of the bridge. Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case. She makes a valid point. There is no evidence that these two left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case could trust towards something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? I want your final opinion on this position of this crystal sphere. It's not related to this case, and the witness who you called would be nothing more than what monumental waste of time. Prepare yourself some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. Simply prove it. That's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honour, allow me to prove something to you. I'll prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case. You'll do what? That look in your eyes, you remind me of Phoenix Wright when he's cornered. That should come as no surprise, because right now I am Phoenix Wright and I am indeed cornered. I urge you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. This crystal sphere was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right, if it hadn't stopped snowing, there would be game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I need you to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly. Snowing? On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body. Ah. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. What? Order. On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge, and there something occurred that caused the star's crystal sphere to come loose. What? What could that have been? This sphere, there's some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge. The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness. Just who is the fool, and which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma? Have you been paying attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? Sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. That's not exactly true now, is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. It's the same thing. No, it isn't. You said it yourself. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of the blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If our statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding. You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Dunham's body was found in the Hazakura Temple. On foot it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible. Our defence really would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple. On that snowy night there was only one way that a body could have been moved. Snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could also have been used to carry a body. Order. This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You dug yourself into your own grave. What do you mean? The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin? You're too late, Franziska von Karma. And in fact, the defence has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation. What? Where was the victim, Elise Dunham, really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean? Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature would never see the truth, let alone describe it. This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamoured. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defence stands firm on this point. Edgy, thank you. That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances. Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It's just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you make a wonderful partner. Excuse me? There was one reason and one alone for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning, and I wouldn't have had Francie whipping me at all. Miles Edgeworth, I don't care about what you were here to do. This is my chance to finally grind you under my heel. Shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. What a shame, Francie! It's all your fault. Such a terrible witness. I demand satisfaction. I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. His words here today being truth or lies. Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that should be addressed. I count on thorough investigations by both the defence and the prosecution. And with this, the rest is up to you, Wright. Court is now adjourned. And that brings us to the end of today's video. This has been Darth Browner. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you on the next video where control will be returned to Phoenix Wright. Ciao for now, everyone. Bye-sies.